Welcome to the Empowered Homes podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to be a resource to connect church and home by growing strong families.
Hey, it's Bobby.
Hey guys, it's Maggie.
Today is a special episode. We got our family ministry team together and had some fun.
We did. It's a party.
It is a party. We got together. We talked about what we're doing in the middle of COVID-19 and all of this and social distancing. And Maggie brought up a great question at the end. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It really gives you a look into our staff team.
Yeah. So check it out. If you want more information, go to empoweredhomes.org. All right. Hey, guys. We have our family ministry team all on Zoom. We are recording a podcast. Maggie. Hey, Maggie.
Hey. It feels like we're sort of the Brady Bunch right now.
I know. It's awesome. We got everybody. Hey, we just wanted to kind of spend some time to talk about family ministry today because this is a unique time that we're all in. It's pretty wild, but today specifically we want to talk about a few things that we're trying to do, things that we're trying to be successful at, things that we failed at, and just really wanting to love on our people. Maggie, what's the purpose of today?
Yeah, so today we're virtually coming together to just sort of talk about how ministry has changed, because it has changed a lot over the past week. We are all practicing social distancing right now, and that really, I think, goes against our nature as ministers and pastors. And so we want to talk about how we are trying to stay connected with families and helping them connect with each other during this weird time. And so we're going to start by having everyone on the call introduce yourselves. So just give us your first name and then your job title, and we'll start with preschool ministry and go on up.
My name's Sarah Hearn, and I'm the preschool minister here at Kingsland.
My name is Christy Cupid, and I am the preschool minister at the North Katy campus.
I'm Leslie McWhirter, and I'm children's minister.
Maggie, you already went, so I'll go next. I'm Joe Landy. I'm one of the student pastors here at Kingsland.
And my name is Chris Kincaid, and I'm the junior high pastor at Kingsland.
My name is Curtis Lane. I'm the student pastor at North Katy, our multi-site.
My name is Kayla Self, and I'm the girls minister here at Kingsland.
Hey, and I'm Bobby, discipleship pastor working with our parents and adults.
I'm Stephen Jones, and I'm the teaching and training pastor.
I'm Eric Conley, and I'm not really sure what my title is. I don't know. I work with our adult ministry. I'm the interim campus pastor of our North Katy campus and online campus pastor for the zombie apocalypse that we are now in.
And he's hiding in a closet.
I'm the zombie apocalypse, and I am the first generation pastor. Yeah. I'm the old dude. I'm the one everybody's trying to stay away from.
Hey, well, before we get started, if someone's listening to this or watching, they may see this and go, man, that's a huge staff. And we are blessed to have a big team. And there's guys and girls that are by themselves that do all children and student and media and the janitor. And so if you're listening to this right now, just be encouraged that, yeah, we know we're blessed that we have a team, and I would argue one of the best teams in America for our families. And but if you are listening, just know we hope to encourage you, even in a small context, that you can take what we're doing and apply the same thing. You could scale everything that we're doing. So just be encouraged with that. As we get going, want to just talk about how are we connecting with our people. And let's start with preschool. Preschool, what are you guys doing to connect with the kids? Because, that's what you do. You love the preschoolers. What are y'all doing to do that and their parents?
Right. So one thing that we've found as we've been talking to parents and our volunteers and is that everybody is just really craving normalcy right now. So one thing that we've decided to do this past week is get some of our amazing volunteers on Sunday morning to do the lessons. So instead of just having something that's been pre-boxed or done by somebody else, we're having our volunteers record themselves doing the lessons and sending them out to the kiddos so that they can see some of the people that they are familiar with and present it in a lesson format that they're familiar with as well. So that's been really great. For parents have really appreciated that and really had great feedback on just having the normalcy of a Sunday morning Bible study for them. So not just the sermon, which everybody's been doing really great trying to include the kiddos, but this is just something more on their level with people that they're familiar with. So that's been one thing that we've been doing.
So good.
Yeah.
Another thing that we are doing is we were supposed to have an event this week for Mother's Tea, and obviously we can't meet, so we are doing that virtually. And so all those moms that were going to get to be a part of it, they still get to be a part of it. It's just they'll be at home and they get to watch it. And so we wanted to make sure if there was anything, if we could still encourage them and just give them what they were already going to get. And so that's something that LSAT will be doing this week. And then something also for all of our kids, for preschool, really any age that can do this, is we are planning a movie night. And so more information with that will go out this week, but it'll be a fun at home experience with different things for them to look forward to this week.
That's awesome. So the movie night, what movie?
Can't tell you. It's a surprise.
Okay, we'll save that for a surprise. You go follow
It is.
us online. Frozen 2, possibly Frozen.
Some of us have already watched that.
I know, I've seen it
10 times.
too many times. All right, children's ministry.
No such thing.
Children's ministry, Maggie and Leslie. What are y'all doing to connect the kids and parents?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to talk mostly because Maggie's playing host right now. So one thing we've done is we sent all of our Sunday teachers their class list. We provide that in their folders on Sundays, but they don't have their folders. So we've sent them the list so they can call their kids or email them or send them a letter. And a lot of our teachers are getting on that, connecting with their class. Sunday, Maggie and I did a video because we realized we're connecting with the adults a lot, but it's harder to connect with the kids. So we did a video just for the kids and sent that out for parents to show their kids that we're thinking of them. We asked kids to email us and that we can email them back. We haven't gotten any emails yet. I haven't. Maggie, have you gotten any emails back yet?
Not yet. I'm still waiting excitedly.
I know. I woke up at 4:30 and checked my email. I didn't have any.
You were more excited than me.
We completely borrowed this idea from another church, but we told parents about if their kids are feeling anxious, that they can fill out a form and send it to us to let us know if their child is struggling, and we can record a video and send it specifically to that child to let them know that we're praying for them and pray for them via video. But the biggest thing we're doing is a photo scavenger hunt. And it was supposed to have rolled out this summer and been a different format, but since we had it ready, out it goes. So each day that we're putting on social media and on the Empowered Home website, a question. Kids are supposed to talk about what they already know about that Bible question, and then we give them the scripture to read, figure out the answer, and then they have a photo challenge, and they're posting those on social media and hashtagging it KBC time, the numeral 4, KIT, time for truth. And I've learned how to hashtag, so that's been fun.
Nice.
And so we're watching all those pictures roll in, and that has been really fun.
That's super fun. And I think what you said too, super important, that we have been doing a lot for parents, but I love that you're both preschool and children are trying to connect with the kids, and that's huge. And it's hard because you've got so many parameters and so many rules on, there's forms that parents have to fill out for kids under 13 to use Zoom, and it's just a crazy deal. So thank you all for just loving on all the kiddos. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're just, I think, really making a point to try and put as many familiar faces in front of the kids as possible. And so we're doing that through the videos, through the video that we send out to everyone, and then also through the scavenger hunt. That just puts a lot of familiar faces in front of those kids and helps encourage normalcy for them. All right, so student ministry.
Yeah.
Can you guys tell us what you're up to?
For sure. And just want to thank Leslie, Laura, you and all you ladies because I got a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old. So my kids have been enjoying a lot of that stuff too. So thank you very, very much for what you're putting out there. It's super helpful. As far as students go though, obviously the situation is fluid, and which means like it's changing every day, if not every hour, what restrictions that you can't have. At first we were 50 people and then it was 10 people, and that may change now here in the next hour or so, whatever. But as a church, I think we're all definitely very, very big on the family. And so as a church, we've been sending out the Sunday morning emails to all of our parents and trying to resource them from the Sunday morning sermon through Pastor Rush and questions and things they can do. So we've been, obviously all of us have been trying to do that, which is very, very, very helpful. And I think communicating through one email, one thing to parents has been very, very helpful for sure. But right away, really proud of our team. Curtis, Chris, Kayla, and I, we kind of developed an immediate kind of a response, because all of our kids, teenagers, they're very much on social media. They're very much glued to their phones or their, TVs or computers and whatnot. And so Curtis spearheaded a way for us to get on Instagram and kind of to develop a game plan for us to kind of at least be in front of students. And it didn't need to be crazy in-depth, like deep spiritual things. It was just really just connecting and a lot of fun, because I think there's a lot of kids that are feeling isolated and alone. And we can talk about that in just a little bit. And then Chris and Kayla spearheaded fantastically. We're blessed here at Kingsland to have an awesome small group ministry. Like that's what we're predicated on. Small groups through Sunday mornings, Sunday nights, Wednesdays, usually sometimes. And we've got a lot of great parents and leaders that we rely on. So we thought immediately it's helpful to resource them in order to help them out. But before we jump into that, I'll give it over to Curtis real quick. He can kind of talk a little bit about what our Instagram game plan was.
Yeah, for Instagram, what we really tried to do was, first off, we don't want to overload them. We don't want to put so much content out that our kids kind of looked over it. So we wanted to be intentional with everything that we did. But then also just realizing like we don't have to entertain them hour on hour, but we also want to have some substance. One thing about our student ministry that we really hold high is that we want our kids to continue to see the KSM as intentional and in depth when it comes to spiritual things. And so kind of for us, we kind of put out a weekly schedule of what this would look like for us. And so kind of Mondays and Wednesdays are our fun days. Typically we'll do like a Monday prep for what we're going to do something on Wednesday. One thing right now we're doing is a house trick shot. And so the kids make up a trick shot to do in their house and submit that, and they can tag us and put a hashtag in so that we can find that. As well as we're doing kind of like dad jokes. Joe is really bad at dad jokes. And so we're doing a dad joke competition where we're probably going to film ourselves saying some of the jokes that they put in and seeing if like we spit out water or those types of things. But we're trying to keep some normalcy of going, hey, whatever your student ministry is characterized by, like utilize that. And so for Joe and his corniness, we're gonna take advantage of that. And so on Wednesdays or on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we try to keep it spiritual. And so for us on Tuesdays, what we're wanting to do is to get some of our students to film themselves processing out the Sunday message. We're calling it student thoughts. And so for them to actually process in front of the other kids what they're thinking, how they're being challenged, what they got from the sermon, allows for our kids to hear someone their age processing that out, as well as to realize, hey, I need to be watching that sermon on Sunday and really being involved in that, not just watching it to watch, but to actually process like I would be in a core group, which is kind of like our small group questions that we have after sermons. And so really utilizing that, but that can also just be a challenge post that we can post as well. Thursdays, we've actually started a prayer request team. And so we're taking prayer requests every Thursday, but our prayer team is made up of our students praying for students. And so we'll get those posts in, and I'll email out to our prayer team, hey, these are kids that need prayer and this is what they're asking for. And we don't put out the names, we just put kind of the initials of those kids so that they're praying for their brothers and sisters, but knowing that some things they don't need to always know. And so that's been a really cool thing as well. Students' testimonies and student devos. We're having kids film themselves giving their testimony, which allows for them to get to their own community, continue to get to know each other and be intentional in that way. But then also with some of our student leaders, we're asking them, can you write a devo for the KSM and film that and encourage your fellow students through what's going on right now. And so every day this kind of changes. We kind of realize when there's dead times and things like that we're trying to figure out. But what we're trying to continue to be is as intentional as possible.
Yeah, and so at junior high kids, a little bit unique too, because while our high school students are on social media, a lot of our junior high kids are not, just because of safety and parents really guarding their kids. And so we're walking this fine line of, we don't want to force parents into this awkward situation of, my kid needs social media in order to engage. And so we're really depending heavily on our small group leaders to engage our junior high kids. And so with our core group leaders on Sunday morning, they shepherd like a group of about 8 kids. We're encouraging them to write letters, or a lot of them have texting groups. And so sending just a text for prayer requests, just trying to engage in simple ways, just to see how our kids are doing, just to let them know they're cared for, that they're not forgotten, that they're known, that they're valued. I think that's really important in this time, because with the social distancing going on, it can be very isolating. And especially for junior high kids who are dependent upon parents for rides and communication, a lot of them are kind of like, does anyone care? Does anyone notice me? Am I remembered right now? And so that's something we really want to push, is how do we engage these kids whenever they may be a little bit isolated just because they may not have the technology to engage. So that's one thing we're trying to do with junior high students. And then just some simple ways that myself and our junior high girls minister resident are trying to engage are through just letter writing to students. We're picking about 3 kids a day that we're just writing a letter to them. Usually I don't like Xbox Live, but I'm hopping on Xbox Live because that's where our junior high boys are at. And so I'm learning all these different games that I don't really care about very much, but it matters. It makes a difference. And so just trying to think of creative ways to engage people and engage these junior high kids and stay in contact with them. It's really, really important.
Man, it's so good. I love watching the trick shots on online. And I love that all the staff did one before. And I will say, Chris, yours was my favorite. So I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, I didn't on that, but that's just me. They don't agree with me, though. So.
I had a dog. I had a golden retriever.
The golden retriever is pretty stinking cute. Gotta say.
It is pretty awesome.
Kayla, would you add anything as far as resourcing leaders? Or?
Yeah. I think what you said was really good at the beginning. We're a really large student ministry, and we see over 600 kids on a Sunday night. That's our small groups. And so 4 full-time staff people cannot connect intentionally with all those kids, especially right now. And as Curtis already mentioned, we're a super relational ministry. And so it was actually really fun. Sunday nights are our life group meetings with students. And I had, 15, 20 different text messages from leaders showing how they jumped on Zoom and had calls similar to this. And some of it's funny, but it was cool to see some of them also really getting to have spiritual conversations with their kids, whether they were talking about their life group devotionals or they were just asking and checking in and praying together and seeing how kids are doing. So it's been huge, I think, to really equip and trust our leaders and watch them jump into action, because they're the ones who are discipling and investing in our students. And so Chris and I had kind of compiled a leader resource guide. He kind of talked a little bit about the core group stuff and how we're equipping our Sunday morning leaders. But for me, it's just been more so checking in on our life group leaders on Sunday nights and making sure they're good to go, that they're investing in our kids, and they're the ones who are actually getting to make the phone calls, send the texts, pray, and then check in with us. And so that's been, really huge, I think, in helping our kids feel connected. It was fun last night. I had 14, I think, junior girls on mine, and it just gave me a lot of joy. Even for me, I was like, this is going to be a wreck. And it really was fun just to connect with them, to laugh, to hear how they're doing, to see them, and to pray for them. So, yeah.
So cool. Love what you guys are doing for students. I'm going to be able to get on with my senior boys later this week and check in on them. I'm excited to catch up with them. I've already had a few come by the house.
Nice.
It's been awesome to see those guys. But I'll talk for our adults and our parents just real brief. Dennis will talk, first gen, and then Steve. I'd love to have you share what we're doing on Wednesday nights for our adults and parents. But we are big on community groups. We have a ton of community groups that meet on campus and off campus. And initially, I wasn't sure what to do because we canceled community groups, but we still had worship. And then this past week on Sunday, we really didn't have anything on campus. Everything was virtual. And so I was trying to figure out how do we get our groups to still be able to meet. And so I became an expert on Zoom. I watched every tutorial, made sure I knew how to help our people get logged on. I even created my own tutorial walkthrough with me explaining step by step how our directors of our community groups could create a meeting so they could have meetings, and just floored by them this past week. I've got picture after picture of images just like this right now of just faces getting together. And the greatest part of that is they gave me the links to jump in the meeting, so I got to pop into all these meetings just to say hi real quick, and it was just so fun to see them do that. And so that's what we're trying to do for our community groups. They're seeming to jump in on it, but we also have Wednesday nights. Steve, share about what we got going on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, Wednesday nights is one of those times when the church gets to come together, and we always tell people that it's a time to make a big church feel small, just like community groups. Kingsland can feel like a large format place, and you got to find ways, little small pockets like your ministries and things like that. And Wednesday nights are normally a time for reconnecting and getting close. And I think that the thing that we've been talking about a lot, the word that's come up a lot, has been normalcy, right? Feel like how can we feel like we're back into the rhythms that we're used to, that are comfortable and that we're used to being fed by. And so I got something out of my comfort zone. On Wednesday nights, we decided to live stream my normal Wednesday night Bible study. I normally teach a large format Wednesday night Bible study in the sanctuary. And what's bizarre is I'm a very reactive teacher. And so I like looking at people who are in the room with me and seeing if they're getting it, if they're responding. And I ended up teaching to an absolutely empty room, but with the benefit of well, I guess I should say Bobby was there too.
I was there. I feel.
But
yeah.
But you were on your phone the whole time. So
I know.
You were managing the chats for me, which I appreciate. And another thing is, so we did the Wednesday Bible study, and I was encouraged by that because one portion of the demographic that comes to my Wednesday night Bible study is sort of our next gen senior adults, and a lot of them are in not just not getting out, they're in facilities that won't let them out. Yeah. And so how do you communicate with people who don't have those opportunities? And maybe one of the last and most important things I did with Wednesday night, in addition to sort of speaking live stream to an empty room, I intentionally chose to not talk about what was going on. Like it's something about, it's hard to feel normal. I wanted to address issues and to give people hope and encouragement, but I just sort of picked up my Bible study where we would have been. I didn't have a special late breaking news. It's something that builds into the anxiety of the moment when every single thing you see or hear or talk about mentions it, even to say you're not going to mention it. And so I was like, how can I speak meaningfully, encourage, give hope, and meet people where they're at and help give them something that can nourish their soul on the same time, not adding one more fuel to the fire of the anxiety that's burning inside of them. So
yeah, it was so cool to see. I don't remember how many views, but it was incredible, and people loved it and got great feedback. It was awesome. another huge demographic of people, especially with everything that's going on. Dennis, we have our first gen that, you know, for right now, high risk gen is where they're at. But Dennis, what have you been doing for our first gen?
It's been really crazy because our generation, I'll say those older people, not me, of course, but our generation are those that are at the highest risk, I guess you could say, of catching whatever that we might get. So it's been kind of interesting because some of this generation does not do social media, doesn't do internet, or so making sure we stay in contact with them. And part of it's just encouraging go back.
So just to recap, Dennis, I don't know if everybody caught everything, but our pastor sent flowers to 50 of our oldest members. You've been in contact, doing a lot of just phone calls for those not on social media, and just being a way to connect with them through different means. It's been awesome to see. I think, when the whole high risk demographic came out, most of our senior adults were the ones that wanted to have service. They wanted to meet, they wanted to be there. And so it's just, it's been so fun getting to talk to so many people who are first gen, but they're pouring into me and keeping me calm in the midst of all this, of saying, hey, I've been through worse. I've been through, maybe not worse, but I've been through some stuff, and God has been faithful. And so they've just encouraged me through this time. It's been awesome. And lastly, Eric is, you got a unique role right now that you've been tasked to do. Kind of share what you're doing as far as worship. We're streaming, but we're also trying to be intentional with that too.
Yeah, it's a funny place that we find ourselves in. And before I go any further, I do love giving Dennis a hard time. It's one of my favorite things to do. But he is far and away more technologically advanced than I am. So he said he has a lot of first gen people that are not on social media, and that's me. I am 35 and not on social media. I had to have somebody show me how to accept a Facebook friend request last week. So I'm the perfect guy to be facilitating online church. And so with that said, it is an interesting dynamic because, and I don't remember who said this earlier, a big part of shepherding, of just the office of pastor, minister, is connecting with people, walking with people, doing life shoulder to shoulder, knee to knee. And in the digital world, that's impossible. You can't look in their eyes and read subtext and the things that as pastors, we really want to know. How do we pray? How do we minister? How do we talk through these issues? And so just to be completely transparent, we are figuring this thing out on a week-to-week basis. And so just a couple of thoughts that I had just kind of in thinking through what we've been doing is we are trying to figure out how do we connect with people in an online service in a way that's not distracting and that's helpful. And so that looks like a lot of offering people opportunities to call in and pray, to give us prayer requests online. Yesterday, and big shout out to Curtis Lane. He watched like 11 different services yesterday morning while we were working on our own online stuff. He's watching what everybody else is doing, because the reality is everybody is trying to figure out, what do you do in a world where you can't give somebody a hug, when you can't shake hands, when you can't do all these things that make people feel welcome and wanted. And so, I love the charge that we received from Pastor Rush last week is we got to call people. We got to be proactive. And I don't know how many of you are in this boat. The people who have proactively called me to check on my family, especially some of these first gen families, just calling, hey, do you need anything? It's blown my mind. It's a great reminder that, people are craving that personal touch and those ideas just to get together. And so I'm not even sure if that answered your question or not, Bobby, but we are trying to figure it out. We got chats, emails, prayer support available. We've got all kinds of things that we are trying to do. But as most of our people don't watch service online normally, the thing that we're finding that's the most challenging is they don't know what they want digitally. They don't know how to respond. We ask a question on chat and you get 1, maybe 2 answers when there's 700-800 people watching. And so, we're trying to figure it out.
It's good, man.
Yeah. All right. So we have sort of talked about what we're all doing with our different people groups, but as you guys reach out to people, what are you hearing? What are you hearing from first gen? What are you hearing from parents? What are you hearing from students as we sort of go through this?
I know all the parents that I've talked with have been so appreciative of everything that we have been doing, how proactive that we've been in everything that we've been doing. It hasn't seemed reactive to them. It's been like, oh, bam, right away we had a scavenger hunt that Leslie, had got us good like that. He had it already planned out. It was ready to go. And so I think parents have just been really, really appreciative of everything that all the tools that we've been giving, all the resources. That's just what I hear over and over again. Thank you so much for all that we are doing. So
It's good.
What are people wanting right now? Like, what do you hear from families that sort of avoid? Like, I feel like we've lost a lot of things just sort of temporarily in this season. So what are some of those like pieces of grief that you're hearing from people?
They want toilet paper.
Yeah.
That they do.
It's crazy.
I feel like students, they're just looking for something to do, but they want to be motivated. For a lot of them, they just want to be like challenged and reminded of what their day is supposed to be. Because for a lot of them, they're thinking this is time off and that this isn't going to be the normal. And so it's just kind of reminding them, hey, like to be motivated, to be intentional, to have a schedule, to have these types of things so that you can keep your mind moving forward rather than, talking to a student yesterday. I was on TikTok yesterday for 6 hours and going, oh my, and he goes, yeah, I realized that was a problem and my mom blocked it, and I'm like, yes.
Nice. Yeah.
And so
Good call.
helping parents out with that, but then also just helping the kids, staying motivated and having them put their mind to something and be intentional.
Yeah, and I'd say the difficulty with answering that question, Maggie, is I think a lot of people don't even know what they need right now.
Yeah.
Because everything's changing daily, like I said earlier, and it's like so fluid. I mean, this week, a bunch of kids in our area, they're getting back to school. And so I think they're kind of, I think probably without them articulating it yet to us or the church or to anyone else, is I think families need to figure out what's the new structure, because we don't know how long this is going to be. What's the new rhythm? And I know for our family personally, that's Megan and I have been talking, my wife and I have been talking about, okay, what's going to be our schedule the next couple of weeks that's going to help our kids, that's going to help us personally and get us going, because there needs to be structure. Otherwise, you're just like Curtis just mentioned, you're wasting 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day, and it's just going by. And honestly, you're kind of getting behind on things, and you're not challenging kids. So I think what families need most now is structure. And it's tough because every family needs to figure that out kind of a little bit on their own, or what works for them. And so I think what's been good is we've tried to figure out a structure, a rhythm for families here at Kingsland, which has been good. And like Laura said, I think a lot of families are grateful for that. But as far as students, like Curtis said, kids are just bored, and they do need to be challenged. They do need to say, hey, get in your discipline, get in some structure, and figure out what's best next for you. So
That's the biggest word that I thought of too with that question is the structure. And I think on two levels, that's so vital. You know, for the family to not feel like every day is Saturday is important. But then personally, for each, especially believer, how easy is it to get out of the rhythm of meeting with the Lord when your whole day is catching up on news, managing kids, and so, you know, even being disciplined to wake up early, to have the structured time with the Lord to do those things is just vital, and that structure is hard to come by.
Yeah, and I think, Maggie, I was thinking about this question. You know, what do we hear from parents? What do we need? I've most of my phone calls, you know, checking in. I've asked the follow-up question once I get the generic answer. How you doing? Oh, we're doing good. And then I ask again, like, tell me how you're really doing. And from a lot of the guys, especially, I've got a core group of men I've been trying to reach out to. They're worried. They're concerned. They got anxiety. They got fear. And so, and, you know, we always leave the conversation with them saying, you know, I trust God's got this, absolutely, and we do, but there's that fear and anxiety. I got guys who, you know, if this lasts much longer, they're going to lose their job. You know, there's a lot of that going on, and I'm just trying to shepherd their hearts. At the same time, I think we all feel the same uncertainty too and anxiety, and so it's Eric again. Just reiterate, it's a time for us to work on our heart and make sure our heart is resting. It's a tough season. Let's, you know, we've talked about. Yeah, go for it, Dennis.
Let's try this one time with the first gen. One thing I've been encouraging our first gen is to apply these things of the model of faith that they can be, and having conversation with their kids to try to bring some calm and assurance to them that, hey, Mom and I have been through a lot of things in the past, and God brought us through that, and God's going to bring you through this. And because there is a lot of concern about jobs and economy and everything, and then also just encourage them to connect with their grandkids. I just want to share this one. I got an email this morning from one of our first geners. She said, just wanted to share this, that last week I FaceTimed with my granddaughter who lives in Omaha. We did language arts for 45 minutes. We did spelling words, reading, writing. It was a great opportunity for Kate and I to connect, and it gave her mom a break. So just encouraging first gens to stay connected. And in the calls that I made, so many said, I'm so thankful that you thought of me and you called me and checking on me. So it's just an awesome opportunity. I really think it's a great opportunity for first generation age people to really shine bright. By showing just the calmness that you can have by having faith in Christ.
Yeah.
One other need that I think I've been thinking about is just the need to process. I think all of our people have that. I think life has been going so quickly. Like life is normal to everything shutting down to now it's kind of like a lot of people are having to like stay at home like for the foreseeable future. And that means a lot of schedules and a lot of things that have been planned on are being altered, you know. And I was talking to a 7th grade boy last week, and he's mourning that he can't have his track season, or that his tennis season is canceled and it's his first time to ever play tennis. He was so excited about that, all the way up to the fear of losing your job or possibly already losing your job, or how am I going to provide for my family? And I think there's just a real need for people just to sit down. It's okay to like be sad and grieve your loss, you know, and obviously you don't want to stay in that place. We go to the Lord and we take that to him, but just like having people sit, I've had to do that. Just sit before the Lord and be like, Lord, I need to grieve these things because they're not going to look this way anymore. And that's okay. But at least to acknowledge that I have those feelings and that our people have those feelings, I think is super key. And I think that's a big need. I think that people are kind of pushing down for the need of looking strong or being that big voice on social media or whatever it is, like you have it all together. And it's like, hey, like it's okay to be sad. It's okay. You may not have it all together right now, and go take that to the Lord and let's process this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the things I've been trying to let myself feel and then encourage the people I'm talking with to feel is we have gained a lot during this season, but we've also lost a lot. And so allowing ourselves to feel both of those and to process and pray through both of those feelings. But we don't want to end this on a heavy note. Those were all really good things, but we want to sort of end with something fun, light, happy. So we are going to build a social distancing toolbox. We've all been coping with this in different ways. So in 20 seconds or less.
I've got my clock.
Bobby's timing us, yes. We want to hear one item that you would put in your social distancing toolbox, and we're gonna go from preschool up. So I will start. Mine would be flour, like the baking kind, because I've been doing a lot of baking recently.
It's good.
Mine would be my phone because it has everything that I could possibly need on it, books, games, messaging, so.
I'm gonna say Netflix.
Hey, what do you?
Everything we can watch.
I'm gonna give you some of my time. What are you watching on Netflix?
I like NCIS.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
So
got lots of seasons.
Yeah.
I'm going old school, yellow legal pads. I'm going through them like toilet paper. And I have like 10 of them going right now. At 4 o'clock this morning when I was up, for reasons I can't explain, I was compiling and reorganizing all my yellow legal pads.
All right.
I guess I'm up. So for these unprecedented times, I'm going to use an unprecedented answer. Depends on how big the toolbox is, Maggie. Hopefully it's as big as my garage, because I want to take my whole garage gym and put it in the toolbox, because working out and staying fit and healthy has been very, very helpful the last couple of weeks.
We'll allow it for the unprecedented times, yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
I feel like my item also hurts my bank account, but it would be all my tools, because right now I'm basically rebuilding my entire house. And so we're working on a lot of DIY jobs. So
nice.
Well, since this is an unprecedentedly large toolbox, I will put my family in the toolbox so that they can be.
Oh.
What?
Chris wins.
Chris wins.
Wow. Well done, Chris. Well, in these unprecedented times, I think I would choose my 5,000 piece puzzle. I have like 7 sitting in. I actually made an Instagram post for them, and about 10 people have dropped them off at my door. So I have lots of puzzles. Leslie McCord is one of those people. Thank you for your Cinderella puzzle.
That's awesome. I'm next. I will say for me and our kids and everything, we have been tearing up the Nintendo Switch. Mario Kart, Smash Brothers. We got a free hunting game that me and Charlie been stalking deer on. It's been super fun.
Well, I love my family as much as Chris does, but I think I would add in the toolkit my noise canceling headphones.
Yes.
Because when you're social distancing with a whole lot of people, you need to be able to just tune it out for just a little bit and focus on something else. And so here we go.
Good call.
Yeah, for me, it would be coffee and lots and lots and lots of coffee. We have 7 people that live in our house, and we talked yesterday, the adults in the house, and said we would only have about 1 or 2 days of this if we didn't have coffee. Somebody wouldn't make it. So I'm glad we have coffee. I would need that in my box.
Nice.
Love it.
Okay, for these unprecedented times, here's what we got. Oops, I'm sorry, Joe, you're up.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, for these unprecedented times, we need a really big toolbox, because this is what I'm doing.
Bassmaster Magazine.
I need to take my Christmas list, my Sears catalog, with all my goodies I want to get, and start planning all my trips that I'm going to be making very soon.
There you go. Dennis has magazines. Hey guys, just want to say thanks for your time, and if anybody's listening to this or watching this on YouTube, just want to encourage you, reach out to us. You can email us at podcast@empoweredhomes.org. We can just start a conversation. If you want more information on anything that we're doing, we want to give it away for free. We want to give everything. So if you want the scavenger hunt, or anything that the KSM's doing on social media and their schedule, or anything that we're doing for our adults with the Zoom through community group, anything that we're doing, we want to give it away free. So please, please, please just let us know. You can email us at podcast@empoweredhomes.org. And if you want any resources for your toolbox, we got a ton on empoweredhomes.org. Thanks, guys, for joining in today.
Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, Maggie.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Empowered Homes podcast. For more content and information to connect church and home, please visit empoweredhomes.org.